What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why I prefer the iron pump shotgun in chapter 7. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like some more, comment down below which shotgun is your favorite, and if you guys would like to use my code in the shop when getting anything, it is Evolve Jake, just like my channel name is, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So earlier on in the season, within like the first few days or so, I made a video talking about the shotguns we have in chapter 7. And this video kind of seemed to cause a decent amount of confusion when it came to comments on future videos or while streaming. In short, I think both the iron pump shotgun and the twin hammer shotguns are very good. And because both choices are good and the twin hammer shotguns are easier to use and more forgiving if you miss a shot, those will probably be the best choice for most players and the one that most players prefer. But the iron pump is still a good option. As I said, they're both good, but most people will prefer the twin hammer shotguns because it's easier and more forgiving. The iron pump shotgun does have several advantages though. It obviously has better base damage, more range, a tighter pellet spread, and a higher headshot multiplier. So there's some situations where these advantages will make it so that the hammers are worse than the iron pump. But at the end of the day, it's personal preference because both options are strong. It's not just cut and dry, one or the other. And I think the fact that I preferred the iron pump but said the twin hammers are probably the best choice for most people caused a lot of confusion. I pretty much always stress how important I think it is to get, some opening damage with your mid-range option before forcing a close range fight in Fortnite Zero build. And that is extremely important if you are going to be using the iron pump this season. Like, it always matters, even if you're going to be using the twin hammers, it's nice to have that opening damage. But if you're going to be using the iron pump, it really, really matters because with how spammable the twin hammers are, if any fight is just like a straight up close range fight with both players starting at full HP and just kind of trading damage, the twin hammers are going to thrive in that chaotic situation. Like, that's exactly what they want. But if you do get some sort of opening damage, like maybe 100, 150, and then push off that, to finish the fight, you can often finish fights in just a single pump shot, which leads the enemy like very little time to react and little opportunity to get damage back on you. But this, obviously is not going to be happening all the time. It requires the timing to go in your favor. And also requires you hitting a, solid pump shot to finish that fight. The main kind of benefit of the hammer or the iron pump, is its damage, especially its headshot damage, and which you need to take advantage of when using it. If your aim isn't the greatest and you aren't really able to consistently land good headshots with your shotgun, that would kind of be another reason to steer you towards the twin hammers. It really just comes down to how good your aim is in that case. If you have really good aim, the iron pump is going to be maybe a bit more appealing, but even if you have very good aim, it's not like you have to use the iron pump. I know several very good players that prefer the twin hammer shotguns. It's not as cut and dry of just like better skill, you should use the iron pump, but you kind of do need more skill to make the iron pump work, especially with how oppressive the twin hammers are. Because I said earlier, these twin hammers kind of thrive in a chaotic fight, especially when compared to the other shotguns. And because of that, a lot of the people that are using them are going to try to make those chaotic fights happen as often as possible because that's where their weapon thrives and that's where their weapon has the advantage. So if you are going to be using the iron pump, I think one, you need to be somewhat calm under pressure. If you are someone who panics in these close range fights and you panic in those chaotic situations, it's going to be even more of a problem if you're using the iron pump versus the twin hammers. If you don't feel comfortable fighting close range, the twin hammers are probably going to be the choice for you. You need to be, as I said, you need to be capable of staying calm, but you also need to reposition proactively whenever someone is just trying to hop on you if you haven't got damage already. And this is something that I feel like a lot of players struggle with because they wait too long to try to use their mobility to escape. And then it just ends up with the enemy kind of getting on them, getting a shot as they shockwave away. You need to be like more proactive in terms of like how far in advance you see the fight progressing. If you know this guy's about to hop on you, you might want to shockwave out of there or katana out of there before they even get the opportunity to, rather than once they are actually already shooting shots, And I think the katana works really well with this because you can use a katana use pretty quickly and get to a different piece of cover, but still be relatively close to that enemy and still kind of be involved in that close range fight, And this is something that is going to be in your favor because when you are able to play cover with the iron pump, especially like right shoulder peek shots, that is going to be another advantage of you. Or not necessarily an advantage, but like the iron pump lends itself to those fights better. And playing cover that way kind of neutralizes some of the advantages that the twin hammer shotguns have. So if you are able to back up to a piece of cover and have the twin hammer user chase into you, if you're able to quickly peek, hit a hard pump shot, you might just eliminate them there or get so much damage that now the fight is winnable for you. Now you can swap to your AR, hit a few shots. Maybe that's the kill right there. If not, you can swap back to the hammer pump. But like getting them to chase into you in those situations is something that I think works really well. And oftentimes they're going to want to do because, as I said, it thrives in those chaotic situations. If you just katanaed away to another piece of cover, that person might feel like that they have the advantage because they have you somewhat running away, but you could quickly turn this on them with how hard the twin hammer shotgun actually hits. And the main reason I like the iron pump is because of these strengths I outlined. The damage, the headshot damage, and kind of like the consistency of it helps you win fights a bit cleaner, I think, which will like decrease your likelihood of getting third-partied. Or if you do get third-partied, make it something that's like more of like a playable situation for you than what would otherwise be. A lot of fights with the twin hammer shotgun, if it's twin hammer user versus twin hammer user or twin hammer user versus pump, it's likely the person using the twin hammer takes a good amount of damage in that fight because of the play style it lends itself to. A lot of people play, you know, super in your face, super aggressive with it, and it can work with this weapon, and you can run through lobbies with this weapon because it is pretty good. But a lot of the fights are going to feel a little bit more coin flippy and less controlled, and that will oftentimes lead to you taking more damage and softening you up for any potential third parties. Also think like as I learned the season and got more comfortable playing it and got more comfortable, you know, getting a katana more frequently, knowing where to land for that, knowing where to land to get the mythic pump. As I got more used to the chapter and the season, I feel like I was able to play better with the pump, knowing kind of what type of fights to avoid, when to reposition, all of those things. With less mobility, it's definitely harder to use the pump because you can't kind of get away in those really chaotic situations. But as I got better playing with the katana, and as I said, just getting them is a struggle sometimes, I feel like I was able to play better with the iron pump, whereas like the first few days of the season, I was definitely preferring the twin hammers. But that's basically it for this video. My point is still the same. I think both options are good. It comes down to personal preference. Because it comes down to personal preference and one option is a little bit easier and a little bit more forgiving than the other, that's probably going to be the one most people prefer or the one most people perform well with. But if your aim is good and you can, you know, stay calm in these chaotic fights and know how to reposition and know how to play cover well, the iron pump can also fare very, very well and also be very enjoyable to use. This is one of my favorite shotguns we've had in the game for many seasons now. And as I said, a lot of this video kind of frames it to seem somewhat like a skill issue. It does take more skill, I feel like, to capitalize on the iron pump, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people using the twin hammers are bad. As I said, I know several very good players that are preferring the twin hammer shotguns. Just really a matter of preference and playstyle. But let me know which shotgun is your favorite down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. This guy just doesn't miss. That was so lucky. I thought the only way I could kill him was just like jumping on him and hitting a hard pump shot. He didn't even... Oh no, he had the lever, I think, right? The sovereign. I don't see his shotgun here, but yeah. Like I was so weak that if we just have a normal fight, I feel like I'm chalked. They asked us the most important question. Do you prefer starting a match by storm surfing or dropping from the battle bus? Wait, battle bus? Storm surfing? Both or neither? Who chooses neither? That's crazy.